Hi, welcome back. We're going to step through creating a feature group. And for this example, we're going to use antimicrobial resistance genes that are found in Haemophilus influenzae. And these are the genes, and we're going to look for them. And that's an important exercise because sometimes you're reading things in publications and you have to figure out how to find those things in BV-BRC. So let's get started. Let's go over to BV-BRC and let me blow this up. Okay, so I'm going to try to show you several different ways that you can search for things and also add them to feature groups. So we're going to walk through this just so you get a feel for the different ways you can do things in BV-BRC. So let's first use the global search box. And I need to look for Haemophilus influenzae. I could directly look for the gene at this point, but I want to show you how you can use different parts of the resource. So I've entered that into the search box, and now I click the magnifying glass, which is the search icon. And this is the landing page for the search results. And you can see it's got taxa, it's got genomes, it's got features, it's got specialty genes, and this goes on and on and on. But what I really want is the taxa for Haemophilus influenzae. And note it says 963 genomes. So I click on that, and that will take me to the landing page for the species. And look here, it says 1018. Well, what's going on? Let me show you what that is. So let's click on genomes here. And this is all the genomes, all those 1018. And let's click on the filters here. And this is a really useful function because you can filter the genomes based on their metadata. So you could easily get all the Haemophilus influenzae genomes that were isolated from Brazil in 1984, from humans, whatever. But let me clear those. The first thing I want to point out is this public. True 963, false 55. Those false mean it is private. It is not public. That's my private data, which you can't see, but I can. So I'm going to click on true so that we are in the same sphere. And this has the 963 genomes. Now, one thing I can do, and this is a handy little thing, if you click on this, the apply filter, so I click on this, and what it's doing is it's filtering all the data, phenotypes, sequences, features, proteins, all of these based on that selection that I made. So it's across those 963 genomes. So let's go to the features page. And the first two in that table were blah Tim and blah Rob, and those were both versions of beta-lactamase genes. Now note here that across these 963 genomes, there are almost 2 million genes. We can use this keyword search, and I'm first just going to start with blah and see what it comes up with. And you can see it filtered down to 5,455. But I noticed right away up here it says, and let me give you some more real estate here, class A beta-lactamase TEM family. So this is an indication to me that maybe there's a Rob family too. So instead of blah, I'm going to put in TEM family. And then let's see if that's a good thing to do. And so look, across the 963 genomes, there are 157 of these. And if we look, we can see they're all named the same thing. One thing about each of the column heads in BV-BRC is that they're sortable. So if I click on this, it shows me that some of them are really small, but most of them are large. Well, most of them are 861. So another thing I want to do at this point is to make sure that there aren't duplicate or different protein families. The genes often come into Haemophilus influenzae by plasmid transfer, which, I mean, the fact that this is so slight across all 963 genomes indicates to me that they're not often found. But when they come in, they could have different origins and have different sequences. And I want to look for both of those when I check on things. So how would I do that? Let's click on here, this plus icon, and we can add in the protein families. And because I'm in Haemophilus influenzae, I want to add in the local protein family, which is genus specific. So I'm going to add that in, and I'm going to take a few of these out because I want the real estate to be able to see that protein family, and I'll get rid of feature type too. Okay, and then I have to click the plus again, and then I can see they all end in this 4335. So I click on that, and I click on that, and that's an indication to me that they're all from the same protein family, so there probably aren't duplicates. I click on the length again, and I just want to choose one. I'm hoping they're all really close in sequence. So I click on this, and you notice that once I click on it, it highlights the green action bar. And here I can click on the group icon. Now it says group type. I always encourage you to do this because sometimes it's a little bit buggy. Click on the down arrow, and I click on genome, and then I click on feature again. And I want to create a new group. So click here and do new group. And I'll just say H influenzae AMR, just so I'm thinking along those lines. And I'll add that. And once I click that add button, it turns white. And then you get this down here that tells me I've created a group and it has something in it. So we were so successful at that. Let's look for the Rob gene too. Rob family. And oh, fewer of these genes. They're all about the same size, except for this guy. And this guy, notice it's from the same strain. So that's an indication to me that there's either an assembly error or it's pseudogenized for some reason. So the protein families are the same. I'm just going to choose one of them, that one. And now I'll click on the group icon. And then I'll just make sure it's the feature group. Now it's an existing group because I already created it. So look, you can click on this and it'll show, oh, it's showing me a genome group. So I have to step through it again, go to genome, and then go to feature. And then there I click on it and it shows me the one I just created. So I'm adding that one in. So I add it. Let's look for the message. It says it's adding one item. It says it's done it. Now let me show you a different way you can look at these things. So let's go up here on this tab that says searches. So we click on that and we can do features or we can do proteins. Let's go ahead and do features. So this has a lot of information we can look for, but one of the genes, which was a penicillin binding protein type 3, was FTSI, and that was in the Haemophilus influenzae. Let's click on one. I could just do the genus, but I'm hoping for sequences that'll be as close as possible. So you could use this to filter the results that are returned based on the metadata if you so chose, but I'm just going to hit search. And so it's going across all the genomes because I can see it's got some of my private genomes in here. At this point, I can't filter on private or public, but here we can see, let me move this over. And I'm going to get rid of, let's see, I'll get rid of the gene symbol to give myself a little bit more room. So this is the function of the gene. Here are the protein families. There are 1,050 of these across 963 genomes, which indicates to me that either some of the genomes have duplicate copies or that some of them are pseudogenized or smaller. Maybe it is a pseudogene, maybe it's due to an assembly error. If I click on length, you can see that some of them are small, but a majority of them seem to be this size. And let's do the same thing with the protein families. So it's ending in 641. There's 641, 641. So I feel pretty good about that. And I'll just choose one. Now this time I want to do something a little bit differently. So I want to go to the feature page. So let's click on this. And every gene that's annotated in BV-BRC has its own landing page. And this is just showing you where it is. This is showing you the protein families associated with it. Oh, and look here, peptidoglycan biosynthesis. And it's a peptidoglycan glycotransferase. So I know I'm in the right place with this one. So at this point, I could add this to a group using this icon here. So let's click on that. And then it says existing group. And look what's going to happen. It's showing me those genome groups again. But here I'm going to click on this, which opens a dialog with my workspace. And there's the group I created. So I'm going to add it to that. And then the button turns blue and I click add. And so there it is. It's been added. So let's do something a little bit different. I'm going to use this as a breadcrumb. This one is the information about the feature or the gene, or in the protein, it'll be the same thing. This is what genome it's come from. This is the species, the genus, and on up. So let's click on the species here and we'll go back to those 118 genomes. And then let's click on features. And this time I want to look at ACRA. I want to see what it has in that. So this is the gene symbol. Let me move this over. And I want to look at this carefully. I want to remove feature type. And I'm going to remove strand too, because that's not helping me at this level. And I want to add in the local family. So both of these have the same family. Let's see, what else do I want to? I'll remove the ref-seq session so we can see these things easily. So both of them have the same family. And I'm a little... Can it really be that only 2 genomes out of everything have this gene? This is an efflux protein, and so it's part of a pair, and they're pumping antibiotics out of the bacterial cell to get rid of them so they don't die. So I'm going to click on this one, and then I'm going to click on feature here. And so that's loading the landing page for that. And here's the gene here. And I want to click on the local family. Remember, we only saw 2 before. I'm going to go back one. And it could be that we only saw 2 because these were the only 2 that had the gene symbol. The gene symbol comes from GenBank when we bring that data in. We don't annotate that ourselves. So we're like hoping that some of them have it. And these ones actually did seem to have it. So let me go back over to this tab. And this time I want to click on the local family. So I click on that. We wait for it to load. And oh, look, okay, only 2 of them have that. But there are a lot of them in there, over 1,198. So let's do the protein family check. This is really important. Well, it's not really important, but I like it a lot, so I do it all the time so I can check that. And the reason I do it is because I've gotten burned by this before. So I'll move this over. Okay, 125. 125. Okay, they all have that same, and look at the gene symbols. They all belong to the same family. They all have the same name. And some of them are called different things. And in literature, the names evolve from the old papers. So this is often a really hard thing for people to do that are looking at an older paper and then what's the name of the gene now? What are people calling it? Where can I find it? Sometimes you're going to have to do BLAST to find it, but this is a technique you can use. So let me check the size again. No, I don't want the small ones. It seems like most of them are this size. So I'm just going to choose one. And I'm going to add that to the group. I've been burned before, so I'm going to click through it this way. And then I'll click on the down arrow and it'll show me the groups I've most recently created. I add that to it and I click add. Okay. One more thing I'm going to show you. Well, actually, I'm going to show you a couple more things. I want to go back to the tab I was just on here. I can also click on one of these. This is a hyperlink too. And I want this gene. Both of them work together to create this efflux transporter. So I'm going to click on that. And look, now the page has reformed to show it here. So let's check this again. We're going to look at this local family, and this is for the second one of the two. And there are a few more than the other ones. And let's look at the sizes. All right. And I want to add in the protein families, and I know this, so I'm going to start taking things out too before I add in the protein family. And maybe I will take out RefSeq locus tag. And there we go. And then we move this over to it. And they're all 174, 2174, 2174. I feel good about that. There's the small guys. Well, it looks like there's a lot of variability in the sizes here. These are pretty much all over the place, but they're in the same protein family. So the protein families at BV-BRC are Kamer-based, so they're looking at regions of the proteins that are uniquely shared. So we're going to trust. We're going to trust, and I'm going to go with this guy and add him to the feature group. And once again, I know, tedious, but I'm doing it. And another way you could do is write an H underscore influ. Oh, and there it is. And it starts trying to find them. So add that guy in. Okay. I want to go back. Let me go to a feature page. And I want to go back to Haemophilus influenzae. So let's click on this because I want to show you what happens when you have one that you can't find easily. So I'm going to click on features here. And for this one, I'm doing TET-M. Uh-oh, no genomes have that gene. So I'm going to step up the breadcrumb to find the closest possible relatives to Haemophilus influenzae. So I'm going to put that in there. And there I have a couple tetracycline resistant. So once again, I want to check the family and get rid of the accession, get rid of feature type, get rid of RefSeq locus, and they're all the same. So I'm going to add that one to the group. Do the same clicking, H influenzae, there we go. Add that one in. So now I'm going to use one that's even rarer. I know this because I've looked for it before. Het K, no results found. So I'm going to step up the taxonomy. Pasteurellacea, Het K, no results found. I'm going to copy and paste them. Pasteurellelias, I can never figure it out. Oh, not there either. We're going to have to go up to the phylum. And it's looking across all those genes, so we're going to have to wait a minute. Actually, I'm going to do this and let it because it's trying to assemble data from 2076, 359 genomes. So now I'll put it in. And here we go. And some of them have PL FAMs and some of them don't, but we're out of Homophilus. So we want to look at the PG FAMs. So let's click on that. Do we have strand? Let's take off strand. Gotta give ourselves some real estate here. So let's close that down. So the PG FAM is 1974. Yep. So all of these belong to the same protein families. So let's click on the length. Yikes, and these two are all over the place. So I'll grab one. I'll add it to the group. Genome feature. And do it this way and add it. So we've created a group and we've added some genes to that. How do we check that and see what we have? So we can go up into workspaces and click on feature groups. And right at the top should be, because it's the most recently created one, there it is. So I highlight on that. And then I'm going to say I want to see the feature view. So I click on that. Now the first thing it loads is this thing, which fine. I immediately go here. So I go to these and it shows me the genes I selected. And let me show you another trick. Let's say you needed a FASTA file for these. So click that down and over here you can view the FASTA data. So I click on that and it says, what do you want? DNA or proteins? So you can click on DNA and it'll open up a new tab that has that. You could also click on it and say, I want the proteins instead. And there it is. Isn't that beautiful? So we have a feature group and we also have FASTA files that we can use. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.